represents everybody who makes an agreement with death and hell, thinking that everything's going to be okay. People think that if they just get used to the idea of going to hell, that once they get there, it'll be fine. And it won't be. It's eternal death, it's eternal torment, it's eternal suffering. And so this imagery of a hand, and I'm going to bring this back up because we have dealt with this before in several studies. We have what's called the hand of the mysteries. Now, let's contrast this here for a minute. Here we have the right hand, the New Testament. The New Testament has the word mysteries in it. Okay, the word mystery is 22 times. The word mysteries is 5 times. That's 27 times. And the word mystery, every time it's used, and it's only used in the New Testament, every time that word is used, the Bible says, like Paul said, behold, I show you a mystery. The mystery is always revealed. Even when it comes to mystery Babylon the Great, John said, the angel said, come and I'll show you the mystery of the harlot. I'll show you about her and who she is. So everything in the New Testament is a revelation. Jesus said that He told His disciples, what I whisper in your ear, proclaim from the rooftops. Don't keep it secret. Tell everybody you know what's going on. And the New Testament explains that which used to be secret. But then we have the hand of the mysteries. With all these symbolic things, a key, a lantern, a sun, a star, and a crown, and I believe those things. And a fish. Why is a fish there? Why is it making these little hand gestures like this? Like we see with Baphomet. He's showing you the hand of the mysteries. It's the hand that represents the covenant of death. Because as long as they can keep secret the idea that Jesus actually died for everybody's sins and you don't have to work and pay for it. You see, religions like to keep people in bondage. They like to keep people in bondage by making them do things for the religion, like pay money or work or whatever it is. They love to keep people in bondage, saying, hey, if you just perform a little bit more, God will cough up a few blessings for you. I hate that doctrine. I hate it. Because what they won't tell you, what they want to keep secret, what their hand of mysteries wants to hide from you is the fact that Jesus already paid the price and He did all the works so that we can be free without the slavery of bondage, without works, without money, without everything else. And all of the false religions of the world want to keep you in bondage. So this hand of the mysteries is very interesting. You see it in hand gestures, Masonic hand gestures, and symbolic. We talked about the hidden hand at one time. That's the Antichrist. Okay, the hidden hand, that which is hidden, is the Antichrist. He's in a pit, and he's going to come out one of these days. His spirit is already at work. Dan Brown's, let's pull it out here. The lost symbol dealt specifically with the hand of the mysteries. It was one of the key symbols inside of that book. And while I was doing the research for this, somebody sent me an email and said, Pastor Mike, the electric company in our area just happens to be called Dominion. And we've heard you talk about Dominion theology and what it is that's going to have dominion over the earth. The 10 kings, the 10 toes, the 10 horns. 10 is the number for dominion, by the way. And Pastor Mike, our electric company, for some reason, they changed their name to Dominion. And he said, I noticed that their symbol was a hand like this, that had illumination at the end of it. Do you think there's anything to it? And I said, yeah, I think there is. It's all about symbolism, the hand of the mysteries, showing that there is a kingdom coming. The kingdom that will not make you free. It's a kingdom represented when Jesus is opening the seals and death and hell come riding out on this horse. That's the dominion that's taking over in the last days because people made an agreement, a covenant with death and with hell. In Masonry or in the secret societies or in the mystery cults, the hand is always representative of initiation. Let's contrast some things here for a minute. I believe in the biblical doctrine of laying on of hands in certain occasions. Number one, in the book of James, is any among you sick? Let him call for the elders. Let them lay their hands there, plural, their hands upon them, and anoint their head with oil, and pray for the salvation of the sick. And also, Paul told Timothy, neglect not the gift that was in thee, that was given thee by the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. I believe in the biblical laying on of hands, plural, of the presbytery, the group of elders. When I was ordained as a minister, these elders laid their hands upon me, many of them. Benny Hidden didn't just come by and hit me on the head. Okay, the elders laid their hands upon me and conferred that office. They gave their consent to that authority of the office of a bishop. It was done by the laying on of hands. So the symbolic of the New Testament in Jesus Christ. But then we have the opposite of that. We have all of these hand gestures that they make. We have secret hand shakes, and we have weird things that, you know, and I'm doing all these things, and somebody's going to pull this on YouTube and say, Mike Hoggard's a Satan worshiper. We have this hand gesture, and we have this hand gesture, and we have all of these weird hand gestures that nobody's supposed to know what they mean. They're mysteries, and they represent, since they're a mystery, they represent the covenant of death. In Masonry, we have the death of a person by the name of Hiram Abiff, and Hiram Abiff is slain by the hand. Think about it. He's murdered. He's slain by the hand. And then Masons teach that through the grip of the lion's paw, we're going to see something about that here in a little bit, through the grip of the lion's paw, that he's raised back to life. And it all has to do with the hand and the 27 bones that are in the hand and this covenant of death. Hence we have Amy Winehouse and the 27 Club. The 27 Club was so named because of these rock stars. And this is a short list. There's actually like a longer list on the internet of rock stars who all died when they were 27 years old. Jimi Hendrix, Janis, and by the way, I'll talk about Jimi Hendrix. I was watching a documentary one time on Woodstock, and I watched Jimi Hendrix play the guitar. I've never seen anybody do things with his hands on a guitar that Jimi Hendrix is doing. Where did he get that power, that ability? He made a covenant with death and with hell. And at age 27, death and hell came with the contract and said, it's time. Janis Joplin, drug overdose. Jim Morrison, very, very wicked, devil-possessed human being. Jim Morrison, dead, 27 years old. Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones, dead, 27 years old. Kurt Cobain committed suicide, took a shotgun, blew his head off, 27 years old. What possesses someone to do that? A spirit, death, and hell. Amy Winehouse. Who didn't see this one coming? She was taken off the stage at her last concert appearance because she was so doped up on drugs and everything else she couldn't remember the words. She was freaking out. That was her last concert. They canceled everything after that, and all of a sudden she's laying dead, probably of drug overdose, probably of that. What possesses them to do this? They made a covenant with death. And the symbolism of the number 27 being a representation of that hand, that covenant of death that they made. Death just came calling in a very symbolic nature. You can always understand how spirits do things because they always follow certain patterns, certain numbers, certain symbols. They always do that. In the book of John, chapter 8, the Bible refers to the spirit that kills. He said, Jesus said, why do you not understand my speech, even because you cannot hear my word? Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And so here is Amy Winehouse and Kurt Cobain of the rock group Nirvana. Nirvana represents this awakening, this awareness that you receive, watch this now, that you receive by way of a hand laid upon your forehead called Shaktipat, that confers upon you illumination. That's what Nirvana is all about. It all follows the same pattern, the same idea. And I was thinking about this number and how it's broken down. It's actually like a multiplication thing. You have 3 times 3 times 3, which makes 27. And if you don't believe me, just get a calculator out and do the math. You'll see it that's there. The interesting thing is that Freemasonry, and we're going to get to Norway in just a minute. Freemasonry has a ritual that they call 3 times 3 times 3. 3 Masons get together. They hook their 3 feet together. They hook 3 hands together here and 3 hands together up here. This shows as above, so below. 2 kingdoms coming together to be grasped in the middle. You see the logo there of the triquetra, the 3-headed snake. Are you catching all this here? 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. They're showing you the covenant of death and the spirit that was present with Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, Brian Jones, Amy Winehouse. The spirit that was with them that caused their death, their ritualistic sacrifice at age 27. This all goes back, it's based upon the number 3. You see in Genesis chapter 3, the serpent. Remember that serpent, that 3-headed snake? The serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, promising them eternal life. But Jesus said the devil was a murderer from the beginning, and he abode not in the truth. That means that when he said that, he wasn't telling the truth. He was lying. He lied to Eve, and he said, ye shall not surely die. That is the exact opposite of what God said, ye shall surely die. For God doth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was, number 1, good for food, number 2, that it was pleasant to the eyes, number 3, a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave unto her husband with her, and he did eat. See, this number 27 breaks down to like the number 3, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. And this ritual that Masons perform, 3 times 3 times 3, it's part of the Royal Arch degree. And I mentioned that Masonry sort of hinges around this idea of a character by the name of Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff actually is the architect of the temple. And the idea is that Hiram, really, he's not really Hiram. He's the beast. He's in a pit. He's in a grave. You'll see the Masonic symbol of a coffin. Something is going to resurrect Hiram Abiff or whoever's in that coffin from the grave one of these days. Because in the ritual, the 3rd degree, in the ritual, they have this Masonic grip using the hand called the grip of the lion's paw. Now someone says, well, that's Jesus. He's the lion of the tribe of Judah. There's another lion in the Bible. Be sober, be vigilant, for your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. I think the grip of the lion's paw doesn't represent the gospel of Jesus Christ in the hand of the New Testament. I think it represents the goat hand, the goat side, the left hand. I think it represents the covenant with death and with hell. Why do I think that? Because the only place in the whole Bible where a lion's paw is mentioned is in 1 Samuel 17. This is David, and he's being asked about, hey, you're going to go kill Goliath. Are you sure you can do this? Look what David said. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear. By the way, stop right here. The lion and the bear, those are all figures of the beast in Revelation chapter 13. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God.